Hey,
Well, hello, hello, hello.
living the dream. How's everybody tonight?
And we're hope that everyone is with us and ready to move forward. Tonight we have a special show for you. One of our fearless leaders, Kim, is on assignment tonight. So she'll be back with a new groove. But you know what? She never leaves us without something to talk about. But before we do that, let's say hi to all of our guests. Keisha hosting along with me. We have Maureen, Lady Anitra. We have Lady Andrea. We have Katie in that corner and Miss Lori with us. As you know, I'm your host, Miss August, and we're going to get into it. But we see our roving reporter out there, Miss Jazzy. Hello, Jazzy. Welcome to the show. And you know, we have our Lindy in our cheering section. As you know, we are the people and we want us all to continue to unite. So please comment, like, and subscribe. You remember we have merch and we would like you to be a part of our team. So come on and be a member and check in. So we're going to start off today. Kim left us with an assignment that we need to all hear from Miss H. Heather Cox Richardson. So let's go ahead, Keisha. Let's bring her to the stage and see what she has to tell us. If you're not in the know, you're about to know.
That is right. Here we go. Has said, he's been building up to the idea of an all-out attack on Iran because he started a war with Iran on February 28th, apparently unaware that that Iran could could strike the other Gulf states in the region and could close the Strait of Hormuz, through which about 20% of the world's oil comes, a little bit more than that of liquid natural gas and things like fertilizers, as well as other products. So he's been trying to force Iran to open up that strait by bombing the country and basically saying, we have control over everything. We won. And then, simply in order to keep the strait closed, all Iran has to do is sort of threaten to launch a drone or something at any kind of these incredibly expensive tankers that go through it. So it's one of those cases where, you can have all the most powerful military in the world, but all it takes is a little bit of effort to block that strait. And this is clearly making him more and more and more unstable and more mentally fragile. Let's put it that way. All right. So he's been saying a lot of outrageous stuff that I've been writing about. And this morning, he posted this on social media. And I quote, "A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have complete and total regime change where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionarily wonderful can happen. Who knows? We will find out tonight, one of the most important moments in the long and complex history of the world. 47 years of extortion, corruption, and death will finally end. God bless the great people of Iran." All right. Well, you don't have to look very far to see that as a threat to use nuclear weapons against Iran, and that's exactly how it has been taken around the world, really. But before you really panic over what he is saying, which is extraordinarily grave. I'm going to come back to that. Do recognize that there are some interesting elements in this that point to more to where Trump is than where Iran and the rest of the world is. So first of all here, a civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. Clearly, he is threatening Iran. I would also suggest at some level he is threatening the United States. if in fact the United States destroys another country in what is a war of choice, we will never be the same again. So Iran won't be, but we will not be either. And that's going to be important to remember as I talk today. And then he says, I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. Okay, so he's kind of washing his hands there of responsibility, even though he is solely responsible for this. And then he says this, however, now that we have complete and total regime change where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionarily wonderful can happen. Who knows? All right, to be clear, the same regime that was in charge of Iran before Trump bombed it is still in charge. What's happened is many of the leaders, especially the much older Ayatollah, was killed in the initial strike, and some of the other leaders have been killed. They've actually been replaced with people who are more hardline than they were. And they have cracked down more thoroughly on the Iranian people than they were doing already in February of 2026. But this is a little bit of wiggle room here for Trump saying, oh, because there hasn't been regime change, but saying because there has been regime change, I might be able to work with these people. So you can hear there the echo of this is just a threat, right? And then he goes on to say, we will find out tonight one of the most important moments in the long and complex history of the world. This is a TV guy who wants everybody's attention on him, and that's exactly what he has gotten with this series of threats. And
you should pause that. Thank you. Listen up. Last night was Taco Tuesday, and that's what took place. Comments.
I think that I was hoping that he chickened out, but I don't care what they call it. I don't want to provoke him. So I'm going to say I'm glad that he did this 2 weeks thing that he does, because what he was contemplating, I believe, was some kind of a nuclear or horrific carnage of these people's land and infrastructure, and it was going to have ramifications on our, like she said, on us that we cannot imagine. And I was really nervous that he had a lot of people nervous. They couldn't sleep, stomachs hurting, and I think he does it to kind of torture us a little bit.
Anyone else?
Well, the one thing I know is he needs mental health, and him threatening another country is very dangerous because they could in turn, attack America instead. And then they said they was going to have a ceasefire for 2 weeks, and he was still shooting when he said that. So we have not had a ceasefire. And then he had to agree to monies to even cross the strait now. So with this money that they're going to get, they're going to make a lot of money, and they're going to get a lot of weapons. And I just hope that they are not as mean as he has been to them. I'm praying for America.
I'm back with Jazzy. Our roving reporter indicates he is delusional. But Lindy says, I think he forgets that what we do to them, thank you, Keisha, we do to them what we do to them, they can do to us as well. So you're so right. What's good for the goose, it can pluck the gander as well. So
I had a conversation the other day, real quick, with a young man, and he was like, their stuff won't reach us, so we already won. I said, no, you've mistaken. People have transportation. There's all kinds of ways. I said, if nothing else, even if it incites somebody to be alone, something or other, you never know. I said, so that's very naive of you to think that. And I thought, this is what people think.
And you're absolutely correct, because they do have sleeper cells that's in America. We don't know everyone's that is, good intention. Right. Absolutely not. So great comeback to that individual. Andrea, go ahead.
Well, he didn't even think that, or they didn't even think Trump is what I'm saying, didn't think that they could even shoot down one of our aircrafts, and they shot down two. So they already showing him that okay, we watching. See that's smart. See, he talked too much. Trump talks too much, and they just sit back and watch and listen. And
So,
just I hope we're not hurt. I hope nobody's hurt.
We'll
so
hear
this is
from
a war.
Katie.
This is a war. Sorry, I was just going to say this is a war of attrition. They know what they're doing. They know that we have one of the most powerful militaries in the world. And what they can do is waste our money because they don't have the same weapons that we have. They don't have nuclear weapons. But what they can do is waste our money and help bankrupt the country and maybe kill people.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw this comment yesterday, I was so disgusted. I see so many comments from Trump. I see so many of his freaking Truth Social posts, and I just let them slide. This was absolutely horrific and disgusting. To threaten to genocide a group of people on social media?
And you cussing. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, if I'd have came home and I'd seen Ronald Reagan on the TV when I was a little girl talking about bump all you mother, I would have been like, oh Jesus. Nobody would have thought that. You couldn't have told me this.
That's right.
It's not morally right. Keisha really brought that up. That's when I saw that, I thought, we have no right to kill those people, those innocent people, and destroy their land. There's got to be other ways to deal with this, and it's called negotiation. I don't know we'll ever be able to do it. It's a hard.
I'm sorry, Maureen. There is no art of the deal here. Keisha, finish HCR for us. Let's finish hearing what she have to say. And Katie, we'll catch you on the other side of this tape. Go ahead, Keisha.
I think we're actually good on the video. We played the most pertinent part. If we want to go to Katie.
Okay, go ahead, Katie.
Just real quick. So, Andrea was talking about how Iran hit two of our planes or something. Over Easter, my cousin, who is a National Guard veteran, he did 2 tours in Iraq, 1 tour in Afghanistan. At one point, we had the news on, and he was watching the news, and he goes, they're talking about certain planes, but the video they're showing is not that at all. And I was like, ooh, because he's one of those guys that's very still kind of middle, he just doesn't really care. He's been through it. He's like, what? But when he said that, I was like, ooh, okay. So this is kind of a big deal that, veterans are being like, no, this isn't matching up. This is not computing.
Oh yeah,
I wanted to bring that up.
The whole administration is constantly lying. We don't know what to believe. I believe Iran more than my own government. And to Keisha's point, it was horrible what he said, Maureen. I just remember being young. I grew up during the nuclear war little crisis where they would make us scared that Russia's going to bomb us or whatever with the nuclear warhead. And I was like, I can't imagine being young or anyone, a civilian over there, and they're hearing that America wants to annihilate them, the fear that must go through them. And it's just so disgusting that we have someone we call the president in the Oval Office saying crap like that. It's so disgusting. And he should be, we need to get rid of him, but nobody has the spine or the cojones
fortitude to do it. You're so right.
Yeah. Can I just add one more thing? I remember the Cuban crisis. We were terrified as children during that time. Fortunately, we had President Kennedy, and we got through that. But it is terrifying. They were telling us how to get underneath our desks. Except obviously that wouldn't work with that a bomb going off. But it's awful. It's awful.
So let's not lose momentum. Let's continue. We're on tacos. So let's talk about those secret docs. We're going to transition right now over to the scandal that explodes with the secret documents that's being shredded. Is this another Enron scandal? Keisha, let's go over to, let's load up, but let's have Maureen. Maureen, you want us to play it first or you want to give
No,
some
I'll just
context.
say a few things before you play it. This is something that's just exploded, and all I can say is shake my head. Here's something else that Trump's doing that's illegal and wrong, and that's all I'm going to say about it. And go ahead and show the video.
Donald Trump's presidency collapses as he hits record low approvals in all-time presidential history. Is Donald Trump right now shredding documents? Is Donald Trump right now spoliating, destroying records? Is Donald Trump deleting emails, deleting text messages? Is the entire Trump regime right now involved in a cover-up of the criminality that they engaged in my opinion, for the past 13, 14 months since the Trump regime came into power? All of the ways they would communicate on the encrypted apps, which they weren't supposed to do, all of the direct messages that may be sent on Truth Social or other social media platforms, all of these communications that were done, in the context of the business of the White House, so the business of the executive branch. Guess who they don't belong to? Donald Trump and his staff and his cabinet. Guess who they belong to? Us. We the people. And just because the Trump regime may use certain types of phones or certain types of emails or certain types of whatever, the bottom line is that can't be subterfuge for ways to not preserve communications records relating to the presidency. There's something called the Presidential Records Act, right, which became law in 1978. It was a post-Nixon, very important law that no one ever challenged in the executive branch because you do things by the book. You don't challenge the constitutionality of this. And it basically says you got to preserve your presidential communications. Now, it's one of the things that Donald Trump ran afoul of and violated and led to the criminal investigations into him following his first term, where he did not follow the steps of the Presidential Records Act that requires preservation of records. There's a whole process for it. I don't care what political side you're on or if you don't like politics at all. Don't we want to have records of what's going on with our tax dollars, from the executive branch? I mean, isn't that something that we want insight into and that we want to know about? So what Donald Trump did was he had his DOJ and their Office of Legal Counsel do a memo. And, the very fact that they even had to ask this question in the first place is absurd. And the question that they asked is the Presidential Records Act of 1978 constitutional? And here, Trump's legal department, the Office of Legal Counsel within the DOJ, basically says, you've asked us whether the Presidential Records Act of 1978 is constitutional. We conclude it's not. Then it goes on to talk about the Presidential Records Act is unconstitutional for two independent but interlocking reasons. It exceeds Congress's enumerated and implied powers, and it aggrandizes the legislative branch at the expense of the constitutional independence and autonomy of the executive branch. And they go, every law enacted by Congress must be based on one or more of its powers enumerated in the Constitution or such implied powers as are necessary and proper to carry into effect the enumerated powers. Congress's attempt to regulate the presidency directly raise heightened separation of powers concerns. And they cite another legal memo or law review article to try to say that the Presidential Records Act is somehow unconstitutional. I want to bring in Harry Littman from the Talking Feds YouTube channel, Talking Feds Substack, and Talking Feds podcast. Harry, this is one of those stories that's not getting nearly enough attention because, when you declare the Presidential Records Act to be unconstitutional, they've decreed it. And I want you to break down when you talk about it. A judge isn't saying this. The Supreme Court isn't saying it. They're saying it, but they are now going by a legal interpretation that they've just pronounced, they've divined. And they're saying the subtext, right, is we're destroying records. We're shredding records. We're not saving anything at all. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And Harry, I guess first address the significance of what they're doing, because it's massive. And then secondly, talk to us. The hard part then is the what are you going to do? Because this has never happened before, where a president said, I'm not going to follow this. So then the question becomes, stuff that you and I talk about, who has standing to sue, who can bring this lawsuit, and they'll try, to block them from doing this. Is it general standing that anybody can do? Does it have to be Congress that brings the lawsuit? And so they raise these novel legal questions that shouldn't be novel, because no one since 1978 this was passed ever even thought that this was something that could be challenged like this. And so Harry, what do you make of it all? What happened?
Yeah. So this idea, as you said,
We probably can cut it there, but I think we got the idea. Here he is trying to say something that's breaking the Constitution again. And he, as always, thinks he can do that and get his attorneys to help him out. So that's why I wanted to share that. Just something else we have to deal with.
And it's all about like breaking the law, breaking like constitutional rights, and just going ahead and do it. And then if it goes to the Supreme Court, then it's like, oops, too late. The documents are all gone. I mean,
It's on.
oh, and I also wanted to say that I lost my train of thought. But he's advanced from eating documents and flushing them down the toilet to shredding them. Embracing
Only two reasons to
technology.
shred documents: confidentiality and getting rid of shit.
Yeah.
I think he's
They're
also
scared.
I think he's also doing it because once he's out of office and happened to survive, his medical issues, I think that he does not want the next next administration to go after him again for classified documents and other documents that, would, give away his strategies, his secrets, all the wrongdoings, and try to prosecute him again.
Too late. We already have the tapes.
Yeah.
Everything is recorded, dummy. And he can't stop that. They have to record in the White House. So, hello.
They need a lip reader. If it's audio, oh yeah.
Well, the
They need
one
a
thing
whistleblower.
I'm proud about that. I'm proud, not happy, but that Bill Gates, he was part of the Epstein files, that and so he, resigned from his company, and he might not have the same friends he had before, but he still stood by what he had done. And I feel like the Supreme Court and any other congressperson that has also been involved with the Epstein files needs to come forward and just let all of this information come out so that we can run our country like we should. I'm really disappointed and embarrassed about our Supreme Court and our Congress people, because because of their weaknesses to young girls, allegedly, they have just let our country, for the $12 billion they have been spending a day on this war, we could have fed our whole country. We could have had before or after school care for our country. We could have had good schools and not have to talk about banning the books. We could have kept feeding other countries and still helping other people.
Yeah.
But yet we want to go destroy the world. I'm really just disappointed.
I think that Bill Gates could come out, will probably come out and just throw as many people under the bus as he can when he testifies. I hope. But my biggest fear is, someone like Bill Gates come in and testifies, and he could spill all the tea. He could bring pictures, he could bring videos, he could bring whatever. It still won't do anything.
But he won't. I'm
because
sorry, Katie.
No, but
Yeah.
I know. But also, like, all of this past year of all the stuff that this country's been going through too, it just proves that, and pardon my language, but like so much of this is just bullshit. Like money is just bullshit. All these rules and laws we had are just bullshit if the person in charge doesn't follow through.
Well, it's not only him.
Well, it's
Come
not
on,
him.
people.
It's like
It's not
everybody
only
around him.
Yeah, that's
It's
what I meant. I'm sorry.
everyone around him. Because if I'm being bad, you ladies would check me in a heartbeat. Okay, so
Right.
it
Yeah.
takes a village to make sure that you're on the right side, but they don't care because they're getting paid, and that some of them are being bullied. But I wanted to cut in and just acknowledge what Jazzy is saying. It is like 99% of them from the Republican side, Jazzy, just letting him do what he want to do and not holding him to task.
And I feel like the other side is not coming down on him hard enough either. They too quiet. You ain't got to be threatening, but y'all got to say something other than so. It's just weakness, and I can't stand it.
But we
As
kind
well
of
as the Supreme Court. The
It makes
Supreme
it
Court
look like
not
they
doing
were
their
involved
job.
too. It looks
But
like
I'm going to bring it back around to Maureen. We kind of hijacked your topic because it's a good topic. What is your comment, son? Jump in, Maureen.
Oh, you've said it all. I've said it too. I'm tired of this man and his administration. I don't understand. Why can't we just get rid of him? I understand the laws and what have you, but darn it, what's wrong with our Senate and our president?
Well, I'm just reading the sign from Lindy. She's indicating. Lindy is indicating that Miss Bondi will not appear.
Oh,
to
gee.
her-
Yeah, they said she doesn't have to because she's
There-
no longer AG.
Wait a
Yeah,
minute.
because
Does that
when
they're
surprise
wrong.
us?
you need to hide.
yeah, they're
Who says
saying
that? Who says that?
the Republicans are saying that
Yeah.
because on her arraignment, like it said Attorney General Pam Bondi, and because she's not Attorney General anymore, it's invalid.
Oh,
And
the
it's
subpoena
still
said
not-
that?
It's still she was a part of it.
Now she's a civilian.
Yeah, now it's just erased. And when he
But
leaves
Ro-
office, they'll forget too. They won't put him in jail.
Can I get
Well,
into
they
some,
say-
please? Can I get into
Yeah.
some, please? I just wanted to point out what Lori said. I love how the Trump administration is deciding what is constitutional or not, just like violating orders, not giving us tariff refunds and additional tariffs. And this to me is Trump is the epitome of a spoiled white mediocre man who is used to breaking the rules all of his life, pushing the boundaries to see how far he can get. And he's gone all the way to the presidency and he's pulling this same bullshit. And I bring up race because I think this has a lot to do with it. We talk a lot about how this country is based on in white supremacy. And it's white supremacy that allows this man to get to this point in life where he can basically undo our entire system because he doesn't like how it works for him.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah,
white.
bring another person that could do it, and then the other race or gender.
No.
They don't even let their white women speak up. They white women gotta vote like they are dictated to vote, and they beat them and don't care.
Yeah, that's true. You know, and the thing too is Ro Khanna, for going back to the Bondi thing, Ro Khanna has been on other broadcasts where he says that we personally, you know, she was personally added on there just as a person, you know, to that subpoena. So, you know, if this happened, they could, you know, she still has to do this, you know, the test, you know, testifying. So I'm wondering what's going to happen now with her
She'll be
denying
held in
saying she's not
contempt.
doing it.
She
Yeah,
will be
'cause she
held
got a
in
subpoena.
contempt. She
It
will
sounds
be
like they going
held-
along with it.
I'm trying to get it out, ladies. She will be held in contempt of court. Okay, she will be, because you
Let's
can't
see.
pick and choose what you're going to show up to. Now, whether they move it into jail time or not, that's something totally different. But that is contempt of court when you don't show up.
Well, Steve Bannon's about to get his conviction overturned for
That doesn't
not
surprise
showing
us.
up. Yeah.
I
That
think though
doesn't
for
surprise us.
Sorry, August. I think for Bondi, when we were on Don's show, I think on Friday, somebody from Florida who's big in the legal system was talking about how they're already trying to disbar her, and they're bringing back a bunch of cases against her. So hopefully the state at least might actually do something. But I mean, again, it's anyone's guess at this point.
Yeah, there is an investigation going on into her down in the state of Florida. It's very active, and those are additional lawsuits on top of the state bar investigation. So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with.
So
And that's
to
what
our
they said
viewers
before
out
we came on here.
To our viewers out there, I hope you are keeping up. We swing from one rope to the next. So we're talking about Trump
Well.
shredding files, and now we're on Miss Bondi. So please, I hope you're liking and subscribing. And also, we really appreciate your comments because we definitely will pull them up. But with that said, Maureen, anything else before we transition to another topic?
I think it was a great conversation.
Absolutely. You know how to get us started. But now we're really going to get the pot stirrer to really bring good topics out. Miss Andrea, what do you have for us tonight?
Well, today I wanted to talk about ICE again. And, because I don't like ICE. I don't like what they've done in Minneapolis. I don't like what they've done in San Francisco, LA, Seattle. I don't even like what they've done in Texas or anywhere else that they've touched. Because when I was going through security at the airport, and it's funny, it was not funny. When I say funny, it was not funny. It was a Black gentleman that was an ICE person, and he got smart with me when I was going through security, and which I had just asked a general question. I don't know, something about, because they had all the lines. At that time, we still hadn't gotten back our regular TSA workers. We only had ICE still, and so they weren't very helpful. And then when he made his smart comment, then the other ICE gentlemen, all them started laughing, and I just kept walking because I already saw how little they could be, and they could just, I feel like they would throw anybody to the ground. I don't just feel like they would just throw young people. They throw old people. They'll shoot you. They'll do whatever they can do. And so I just wanted to make it known that the transportation, TSA is reportedly also, they're working in step now with the ICE. And since they've been working with them, they have arrested over 800 people. And not only are they arresting people like us, they are giving away people's information. All of the information that they got when they were what was they at the beginning when they was with what's his name?
Doge.
When they were with Doge and they got that information, they're now using that information against us. The data with immigration and custom enforcement facilitate immigration enforcement. They're trying to, see who else they can get. And they got a lot of cameras around again watching us. And while the Department of Homeland Security maintains the data sharing for security purpose, they say it's a long-standing practice that recent high-profile arrests at the airports have been fueled by intense privacy and infused intense privacy and civil rights concerns. Key aspects of the data sharing program mechanism, the TSA reportedly provides ICE with passenger lists and flight details multiple times. This includes checking names against immigration enforcement's databases to identify individuals and with final removal orders. But sometimes, some of the people they're removing, they're not even criminals. I don't know how they're actually picking out people, but and they also are not always in a uniform. A lot of times they're in plain clothing, just having on a jean shirt, or they could be just having on, most people don't wear suits at the airport anymore. Some of them come to the airport in their pajamas now. I don't know why they're doing that. and that is funny. And then they have enforcement actions. Reports indicate ICE agents have been deployed to at least 14 major airports. And again, like I said, plain clothes to intercept flag travelers before they board their flight. High profile incidents, a viral video. If you remember that girl that they took down in San Francisco, and her little daughter was crying, and nobody could help. When you go to help, like I said, everybody's scared. They saw that gentleman in Minneapolis. They saw him get shot in the back 10 times, 11 times. They saw that. We saw that on TV. I still can't believe it. I need therapy today over it. Our civil liberties are being walked all over. The advocates and lawmakers have raised several critical objections, but nobody's listening. They're not listening because how much they're getting paid? You don't know if they get bonuses for every gun, every bullet they shoot. Mission creeps. Critics argue that using TSA data for immigration enforcement blurs the line between aviation safety and general policing, potentially undermining public trust in airport security. And that's what I think is being done. They're undermining our trust no matter where we are. It feels like, I say, living the dream all the time, because it feels like I'm actually in a dream. When I wake up, I feel like I'm still in the dream. When I drive down the street and go to the store, it feels like a dream. You look at the prices, they're so high. You're like, look at how much this costs. Not only the gas, I don't know if anybody trying to sell a house either. The houses are not selling. I see more homeless people now. I just want everybody to be careful with their information. I didn't want to go over all of this and reading it. I just wanted you to know, be careful. They are listening, they are watching, and they don't care about us. They have a song, they don't care about us. They don't care about us. I don't know what they care about, but it's not us. So, let's just keep praying and keep hope alive. And I like this group because we can at least tell how we're feeling about stuff. I can say, I'm scared today, or I'm not scared today. And, we'll cry on camera, we'll cry off camera. It is really affecting a lot of people. I think about the show we had yesterday, and they said, young people are really being affected. They are being affected because they're hearing their parents say, I don't have enough money for groceries. I don't have no gas money. And the TSA worker saying, I can't get to work to give my baby some milk today. I think it's horrible. So, whatever you can do, and I do whatever I can do. I drove 300 miles just to see my granddaughter, just to take her out to eat for one day. And she said she was so happy. So just try to, do what you can do to make them little ones feel better. And that's all I had to say today. That was my
Like and subscribe, guys. And I'm not getting any comments. Where's my reporters? Report in. Let's go. Angry Army Vet, let me hear from you. I saw you on earlier. Come on. Miss Lindy. Well, thank you, Audrey, for tapping in. With that said, do we have anything else, Miss Andrea, that you would like to share?
No, let me see what Audrey said. That wasn't me. So what did she say? She said, this might be a nice offering for Trump to slink away on, but the biggest problem remains if the Strait of Hormuz is still 95% closed for even a few more weeks, gas prices will hit all-time highs.
Yeah.
So, and again, the gas affects everything. It affects everything we purchase.
Everything.
Yep.
Everything. I do agree with you. But you're getting some good shout outs, Miss Andrea. Miss Lindy say you're the best grandma. I'm loving it. Angry Army Vet saying love Miss Andrea. So
Meemaw in the house.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you, ladies.
With that said, we are on the other half of the hour, and let's go over to Miss Keisha. But before we go over to Miss Keisha, I just want us ladies to say the following. Can we say it, ladies?
Article 2, Section 4.
The president, vice president.
The president, vice president, and all civil offices of the United States shall be removed Trump office on impeachment for the conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes or misdemeanors. The Constitution of the
He's
United
guilty
States.
for everything above.
That's right.
Everything.
So
Article 2, Section 4, we don't want you anymore.
Anymore.
Article 2, Section 4.
Section
We don't
4.
want
We don't
you
want you
anymore.
now
anymore.
these ladies are cheering, but
Yep.
if you didn't hear us,
I'll be
we
partying when he's
are
out of office. That's for sure.
definitely
Take his
letting
whole
you know,
cabinet.
guys, that Article 2, Section 4 covers the entire administration. All right. With that said, let's go ahead and kick it over to Miss Keisha. What do you have for us tonight, Miss Key?
So for this next segment, we're not going to talk about removing the entire administration. We're going to talk about removing a president. So we talked in the first segment about how Trump made that deranged post on Truth Social threatening to kill all of Iran. And as a result, a lot of representatives in Congress and Senate said that they wanted to invoke the 25th Amendment. So we're going to listen to Ms. Heather Cox Richardson again, who's going to explain how the 25th Amendment actually works.
Because of that, the system is long and complicated. So let me read to you how it works. This is the 25th Amendment to the United States. And Section 3 says, if the president says to the Congress, I can't do this anymore, I'm unable to discharge the powers and duties of my office, he has to submit that declaration in writing to the head of the president pro tem of the Senate and the Speaker of the House, and then he can rescind that in writing afterward. But that's Section 3. Well, I don't think we're looking at that going to happen. The section that you're interested in is Section 4, and it's complicated. So listen. Whenever the vice president and a majority of either the principal officers of the executive departments, that's the cabinet, or of such other body as Congress may by law provide. Okay, so either a majority of the cabinet and the vice president, or Congress can say, we're going to create our own body to examine the mental health of the president, for example. Not a quick process. Whenever a majority of those, one of those two things, transmits to the president pro tem of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives their written declaration that the president is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, the vice president shall immediately assume the powers and duties of the office as acting president. And acting, means it's not official yet. Thereafter, when the president transmits to those same leaders of the House and Senate, the Senate pro tem and the Speaker of the House, his written declaration that no inability exists, gets to be president again. He shall resume the powers and duties of his office unless, once again, the vice president and a majority of either the cabinet or other such body as Congress provides says within 4 days to those same leaders, the president pro tem of the Senate and the Speaker of the House, their written declaration that no, in fact, he's not okay. I'm modernizing the language here. Thereupon, the issue goes to Congress. Congress shall decide the issue, assembling within 48 hours for that purpose if it's not in session. And if the Congress within 21 days after receipt of the latter written declaration, or if you don't need all these dates, determines by a 2/3 vote of both houses that the president is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, the vice president will continue to be the acting president, or if that doesn't happen, the president becomes president again. Okay. That's not a really easy or quick system, and it was obviously not designed for a system in which one party has given up the idea of putting the country before the party. Because what's happened today is, while people around the world are completely freaking out over Trump's declaration, most of the Republicans in Congress have said absolutely nothing. The Democrats in Congress are calling for the 25th Amendment, but the Republicans in Congress, who remember have a majority of both the House and the Senate, and both the House and the Senate are not, they're in session right now. It's a weird wording thing, but they're not actually in Washington. That is the big picture session is still happening, but they're not due to come back into Washington, D.C. to talk about stuff until next week, until next Monday. There's no doubt that Trump did this in part because they're not here.
So before we get into discussing how this actually works, I want to share a Substack post I wrote that was, or not that I wrote, that I read by a former senior advisor to President Obama on how this actually could go down. So this article is titled, "The 25th Amendment Isn't Coming to Save Us." This is by Dan Pfeiffer. And as I mentioned, he was a former senior political advisor to President Barack Obama.
He's one of the pod save guys, right?
I don't know.
I think he is.
But he does a podcast. So that's possible. So this section is titled, "Why Calling for the 25th Amendment is a Problem." And he says, "I really do get why people are calling for the 25th Amendment. We are in a dangerous situation and people desperately and understandably want a solution. These Democratic politicians also want to make the point that Trump is unfit for office, and there's some value in that. Though honestly, I think most people can see it with their own eyes and don't need the Democrats to point it out. But this public push for the 25th Amendment comes with real downsides. First, it raises expectations for something that absolutely will not happen. I think it's cheap and a little disrespectful to our voters to push an idea we know will not lead to the desired outcome. It is a gimmick for engagement and fundraising. We should be honest with our voters about what defeating MAGA is actually going to take instead of chasing clicks and online donations. Secondly, it puts the onus on the wrong people. J.D. Vance and Trump's cabinet will face their judgment in the history books and the afterlife for the ways they've sold their souls to Trump. But they are not accountable to voters in November. We need voters to understand that Trump is only able to act like this because Republicans in Congress let him. They are the ones responsible, and they are the ones who should be held accountable in November. The best way to rein in Trump is not to appeal to his cabinet, is to elect a Democratic Congress. I wish there were easy answers. There aren't. Stopping Trump comes down to winning back political power. Everything else is a distraction." So when I read that this morning, I thought it was a very cynical view. And I also thought that because he mentions that it's for the Democrats, it's about fundraising and clicks. And I think it's more important to show the world that we don't agree with what this president is doing.
Absolutely.
Like, we are trying to do our best to fight back. Even if this is not actually going to happen, we need to demonstrate that we don't agree with this. What do you all think?
No, you're spot on.
Yeah.
When you first put the video up, the first video with HCR, I kind of was it felt like a dagger, like, oh no. Reading is fundamental, and we definitely need to make sure we're reading our Constitution to understand the breadth of it. But nevertheless, when you read the second piece of it, the cynical piece on it, it gave it a different spin. And I know, Lori, you're trying to jump in, so go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's the problem is the 2/3, especially because we are, we have the Republicans in charge of Congress, and Dan's right. We have to wait until November until we have that 2/3 of Democrats that we could do anything. What I think is worse than anything is we can't even get one Republican who is going to be returning, not the ones that are quitting because they just can't take it because they're cowards, in my opinion. But for them to acknowledge this man is unfit to be in office, I would feel better with them saying, yeah, he's unfit, but, this is really a hard thing too to do, the 25th Amendment, but they won't. They're just like, hey, he's the greatest guy in the world. Yay. So, I love that article. That's exactly how I've been thinking is, it's just like an amendment, the Constitution. You have to have 2/3 of your states to vote it in. Things don't change that rapidly. And the only way we can, and he gave the best pointer, go vote in November. Vote for the, independent, vote for the Democrat, vote whoever's not MAGA to be able to do something.
I think too, people have to realize that if they were to somehow do the 25th Amendment and get him out, our problems are nowhere near from over. He's not going to leave willingly, first of all. And he is surrounded by incompetence and corruption. And if anybody, I mean, I don't think anybody thinks J.D. Vance is a lesser of two evils here, but this is why we keep saying Article 2, Section 4, get them all out. That's the only way we can even attempt to move forward, I think.
I do too. And the reason I feel that Trump is so dangerous is not because I'm afraid of him. It's because crazy people don't know they're crazy.
Bingo.
Right.
Bingo.
And the rest of them are fruit of that same crazy poisonous tree. They pull them from the crazy tree, and you bite into it, and you're like, damn.
Well, let me quickly just shout out Ryan. Yes, we did make it through another week, but it's only hump day. We got 2 more days to go. And with this president, no telling what. However, back over to you.
That's like 2 years.
I'm exhausted.
I agree that it's important for us to make it to November and elect better leaders, but we need to make it to November. And at the rate we are going with the way this man is acting, I don't know that that's going to happen.
Yeah, it's unclear.
Yeah. Like we have to make our election a world election. Not only is he,
that's what they want.
Gerrymander and steal ballot boxes and stuff. He wants the whole world to be involved in what we do.
A new world order.
And something we have to do too is if we get through to November and get through the midterms, and there is that blue tsunami, we cannot stop bugging the crap out of Democrats saying you have to do something about this, because if you don't, it's going to happen again. We have to hold all of these people accountable before we can even attempt to move on.
That's why boycotts will work, and not donating to them if they're not doing what we elected them to do.
So Keisha, I do think that we should go the 25th Amendment route. It's a process that we can do, even if it's not successful. It's something that needs to be historically in the books. I do agree with you, but I do not. I mean, we might not make it to November, but we have to try. So I kind of believe in what the guy in the article was saying, what you're saying. It all is wrapped into one. But definitely, we should do the 25th Amendment if we can. For sure, we got to try everything.
So our viewers, talk back to us. Viewers, give us your comments. Let's see how you feel. We got 2 opposing ideas going on. One side of us feel like, hey, we need to try to make it and not even waste our time on the 25th Amendment. And others feel that we should. Let's hear back from you guys. Go ahead, Andrea.
They were talking about that today on MS Now, and they were saying that for the record, if we don't have the goodness of being able to institute Article 2, Section 4, that we do need to have on record for history that we at least did Article, the 25th Amendment. So I do agree. We need to do both. We need to do Article 2, Section 4, but we in November, if we make it to November, we are going to start off with a regular impeachment, and we do want to impeach everybody. So it really will result in Article 2, Section 4. They get rid of all of them.
Angry Army vet, I agree with you. Get your affairs in order. If you need documentation to vote, let's get it done now. You have enough time start getting your documentation. Hey,
I'm,
get
I'm glad
online.
you said that, and I don't mean to talk so much, but I do sometimes. But the reason I want to say this is I received in the mail this week a form to register to vote. It said I no longer was registered. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm not registered to vote? And then I got a text message saying that I was not registered to vote yesterday at the address that I am. And I looked it up and I am registered to vote. And so that's my point is they are already trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Total scam.
You have to be so careful with those scams, and especially when it comes to like email and text messages. Like, first of all, nobody's going to text you something like that.
Right.
Second
Right.
of all, especially in emails, you have to look so carefully, but there's always like one letter that's out of place in
Right.
like the from whoever it's from, and it could just be like a font thing or something weird, but
Typo.
Yeah,
it's
and
just
I actually received a ballot to say to change in the mail. So I don't know what's going on, but I looked up my driver's license and my voter ID, and I still showed registered at the correct address. So, I had told y'all once before they were already targeting me.
I'm telling
And
you,
just keep checking.
I'm telling you, you guys, our viewers out there are on point. Angry Army vet, she's hot tonight, guys. Check out her comments.
The last thing I want to say on this is Trump is obviously unhinged. That Truth Social post is one of the worst I've seen from him. He probably has dementia, allegedly, but something's off with him. And how do we know how far this man is going to go? He has the freaking nuclear codes. Like
He's gonna do it.
So
that.
I don't know if the 25th Amendment can work or not, but at least we can try.
Well, we got to put it on file on record, is what they said. We got to
They
have
too weak. They
That's
too weak.
That's one of the
And
scary
that
things.
record also, like, will talk to future presidents too and administrations. It's just not about
I see
Trump
what
and
you're
whether it'll
saying.
succeed. Yeah.
That's another thing that just scares me about Trump, because it's 79 years of untreated mental illness, and that's not something to mess with. Even just like 10 years of untreated mental illness is a crapshoot. But literally his whole life getting fed a silver spoon and being told, "Oh, you're so great, you can do anything," and then so
his mother didn't say it. She sent him away. So
unhinged is putting it lightly at this point.
No, he's
Plus,
dangerous. He's dangerous.
he doesn't
Schumer
like
and Jeffries
because of
gonna
how
have
his
to get their
mama
stuff
treated
together.
him. Mm-hmm.
But I don't see Schumer or Jeffries doing anything. I
I
don't
don't
see
either.
Congress. I don't see any of them doing a daggone thing. And I'm sorry. I want to be on their side, but right now, and I know they do what they can, but they need to be noisier
They
than what they
don't.
are.
They did what they can. They would be shouting as loud as we are. I want to anybody that's not on our side about Trump. I'm not voting for. I'm not voting for
Come
anybody.
on, guys. Everyone is not going to act like you. You don't know what these people are doing behind closed door. Schumer, I hear you, but you don't know what the black man is doing.
Yes,
You can't
well,
say
he's taking
because
money.
he's not.
I know that she did a
When
story.
I hear him
He's
talk,
doing
though,
that.
I feel like
You know what?
he
I'm just tired of us beating up on people and we don't have the entire story. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
I
We
didn't
don't
look
know
into it, but I'm entitled
what
to
they
my
do.
opinion, and I don't go by people just because they black.
That's right.
I'm not saying that. That's not what I
I'm just
said.
saying that ain't my thing. So I don't like him. I think he's weak, and he might be doing something, but he need to tell us what he's doing because he worked for me. I don't
And
work
that's
for
right.
him.
I agree. Jeffries is not doing enough either. I mean,
Gosh.
I'm just saying from just our perspective, or my perspective for me, I'm not voting for somebody that I don't see any results trying to get him out of
And
office.
neither am I. But all I'm saying is we don't know what's going on behind.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I
Sure.
understand.
Well, we're gonna
That's
die while we
all I'm
wait.
saying.
Can I bring it back to the topic? So
Yeah, sure.
What was it?
people are dying. People are being killed because of this man's
Yes.
reckless actions.
That's right.
And he's trying to desensitize us to the fact that they're being killed because they're Iranian. Like they're
We have
some
been
foreign
desensitized
trained
at some
people.
point.
These are humans. These are other humans. Just because they're in a different country doesn't make them any less valuable or important than us. So he has to be stopped. Like, people are dying for no reason.
I want to hear Democrats shouting. I want to hear the Republican, the ones that are not in agreement with him. I want them to shout from the rooftop.
And
it's an illegal war.
That's right.
And I understand.
Little girls died. I mean, this is insane.
And this is all just to hide Epstein files.
I understand where August is coming from. And I understand where like both sides are coming from. Mm-hmm. The thing that frustrates me the most about people like Jeffries and Schumer is they've had multiple opportunities in the last year to do at least something, and they haven't. And they've proven that not proven, but like that's what frustrates me. Well, that's what frustrates me personally.
Like I said, I just want to hear it shouted out. You know, that they have a plan, that this is what we can do, and that we can do this together. I don't even hear them shouting out Article 2, Section 4. I don't hear nothing. I hear nothing. I still hear nothing. I'm sorry.
The silence was deafening.
We're thinking.
Andrea, we love you. I'm glad you're back. I appreciate your everyone's input on this topic. I think it's time for August on the move.
Yeah, we need to move.
Right now, August don't want to even move.
Move on, August. Move on.
But anyway,
Come on, August.
August needs to move. She needs to move on up and out. So with that said, August I always want to make sure that we keep the SAFE Act at our front door, in our minds, and in our hearts. Let's hear from this gentleman.
All right, hold up a second. Are we protecting elections or just making it harder for you to vote? So they're pushing laws like the SAVE Act, and it sounds great, right? But only citizens vote. Cool. But here's what they don't tell you. Millions of legal Americans don't have passports or easy access to birth certificates. Married women, names don't match. Rural Americans, no access. Poor folks. So good luck navigating that system. So if your solution blocks legal voters to stop a problem you can barely prove exists, you didn't secure democracy. You broke it. As always, Trump must go. Semper Fi, Gunny up.
All right.
That was Gunny.
I love Gunny. I highly recommend following him.
Gunny always try to bring us something positive. With that said, how do you feel, guys? Are you aware of the SAVE Act? And are you in tune?
So far,
I know there's a lot of people that's not going to.
So far, it still has not passed. They have not passed it so far.
The House did. It's in the Senate now.
Well, they said it hasn't passed yet. So
really?
Yeah, they said it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Oh, good.
Let's make sure that we're putting out the right information.
Yeah.
By Friday, we will know something. We want to make sure. So, it's time to do our homework. Dig deep. But before I go, I want to show you one more. I'm gonna add this one to the stage, and I want you guys to laugh with me. Here it goes.
Help! We need back up!
You can do it, baby!
Okay, that's enough! You got 10 seconds! Believe me, you don't want this! 5 seconds! Very serious situation! 3! I'm ready! Last chance. You know what? Forget it. Let's do this the smart way. We talk.
Okay, let's make a deal. That's a good point. I'll take it. Best negotiation I had today.
And it's Taco Wednesday. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And back over. Hopefully you guys really enjoyed that. Keisha, I'm gonna go to you real quickly. What's your last closing?
Yeah, so to close out the show, Andrea has given us another funny, as per usual. So here we go.
I'm okay. I'm okay, promise.
Man. That's a hot
I'm
mess.
okay. I'm okay, promise.
I hope that was AI because she wrong for that.
Okay, please skills.
I don't even try.
It is only Wednesday. But with that said, let's go ahead and get our last comments out. Maureen, let's go to you in the upper right-hand corner.
Oh, what do you want me to do?
See, I
We're
said that.
just asking
Any
you
final
your
words?
final thoughts.
I'm OD'd today. I've been off watching so many shows today.
Got you, Maureen. We got you, Maureen. Understandable. All right, over to Anitra.
I just think it's important for all of us to pay attention to all the little nuances and things, and we have to stay together. And again, nobody's coming to save us. We, the people, united can save ourselves, but divided, we're gonna fall.
Lori, over to you.
Article 2, Section 4, y'all.
I hear you, Marley.
We all gotta walk towards peace because this man's trying to blow us all up. I mean, that's what I have to say. Peace.
Powerful. And Katie?
Take care of your mental health during this time. Celebrate the wins. Like literally for me, a win today was taking a nice hot shower, and it felt so good. So just try to enjoy those little things right now as much as you can.
And Andrea?
Well, I had thought of something, and then I joined the same club Maureen did, and I forgot what it was.
Sometimes anonymous, where you can come and you don't have to remember why you were here or what's going on. My name is, well, hell, what does it matter?
We always have a good time here.
Yes,
Keisha?
I remember.
Okay, let's go back to
We
Andrea.
are not journalists. We are not journalists. They don't pay us to do this. I'm not very professional at times, and I'm sorry. But we, the people, unite.
Yes.
And Keisha, before I wrap?
So I have this routine in the morning where I watch CBS mornings because I like the host, Vlad Dutier and Gail King, even though a lot of times I'm like, Gail, what are you talking about?
I like her, and she don't make no sense sometimes.
And then also, like, before that comes on, it's Errol. I can't remember his last name, but he is a really beautiful man. Anyway, occasionally they will interrupt the broadcast to show Pete Hegseth getting a tweet. And I get so angry. I have to turn it to Paw Patrol because I cannot stand that man. And so what I want to say is Pete Hegseth sucks.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Thank
you for that comment. The panel agrees with you. And I just want to let you know we love you guys for showing up. and showing out. Thank you for your comments, like and subscribe. Remember, we're always on Mondays with Millennia Gaze and Tuesdays with the Triple A's. Wednesdays is We the People Unite, and Thursday, Katie is in her corner. And not to forget, roundtable time on Fridays. We have merch, so please make sure you go out there. And we do ask you to please like, subscribe, and become a member. With that said, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts to the top of our smiles. Enjoy your day. And like my roving reporter, Angry Army Vet would say, just breathe. Just breathe. We love you. Good night.
Good night. See you later.
Good night.
Bye. Good night.
Thank you.
We the people unite.